Hey, it's Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com. It's Wednesday, December the 12th. Be a chart lesson for today. And really, we had another trading range day, and it looks like it's going to end as a trading range day, possibly with prices back in the range. Depends on what happens the last 15 minutes, whether we go on lower from here. But these were the overnight lows. These were the overnight highs. So this is where I started with my range, and you can see that was very strong support. And we tested this all morning long, really. Could not get below it, but we couldn't go any higher than about 1431.50 or so either. So we were just kind of really hung in a little small tight range here, and really all you could do was sell the highs and maybe buy the lows, and they all would have worked. There's some different reasons why you might have taken each one, other than the fact that you were buying the lows too, but we'll talk about that in a minute. And today was FOMC announcement time, and that is one of the biggest volatility news events that we have. And you can see it came out right about here, and prices ran up. We broke outside the channel, turned down, then we broke lower and failed, and then turned up. And so it shows you prices, price action works the very same. Even during news events, it just happens quicker. I mean, it didn't take very long. This all happened from, if you take the first, so you see this was started about 9:15 or so. And so it took 2 hours for prices to do all of that right there. And then this started around 11:30. So all of that happened in 5 minutes worth of time right there. The move up, the turn back down, and the move back up. So you can see it started about 11:30, and that bar ended at that bar ended at 11:35 something. So within 5 minutes we did all of that, and it took 2 hours for all this to happen over here. So it shows you what the news, FOMC type news can do as far as affecting the market. So let me talk about the trades. There were quite a few entries in here. You weren't going to make anything more than a scalp. That's all you could really get out of it. If you caught this one, you might have done well. This trade was pretty good right here, but again, you didn't get more than a few points. And now this trade was a pretty good one here, and even this one was a pretty good one. So if you hung around this afternoon and you got to catch these, then you did pretty well. So, or if you caught any of these from the news time on, you did pretty well. And I didn't mark anything after about 2 o'clock right here. So, but let's talk about the trades. These first few were really kind of iffy. You got a short opportunity right here on a trap. We turned up. This was the 830 bar right here, and it looks really bullish. We broke one tick higher and turned down, and that's very bearish. So you just about have to go short right there. It's a breakout pullback short kind of setup because we broke lower here already, and it kind of got hung up right down here on 4 ticks, and then we had a inside or had a doji, and then we went a little bit lower, but we couldn't get that tick that we needed right there without it pulling back. And so you might have got shaken out of this trade, but if you kept your stop up here above the signal bar and you hung on, you could have ridden this all the way down to the lows of the day. You wouldn't have got anything more than that, more than likely, but you could have, you could have ridden it down here. But you had to hang on through all this, and if you drew your trend line up here and then drug it down, then you had to be thinking, hey, we could go higher here. Somebody sent me an email, and they got trapped long right here, and I don't see any reason to be going long right here, not in all this overlap when prices are trending downward. So yes, we are coming off the low side of a possible channel here, but there's no, my chart, there's no decent setup. And in fact, you almost, it's a long trap is what it is. It's not a short trap. It's this person thought it was a short trap because it broke below these lows right here. And you could have looked at it like that, but you don't want to be, even if you thought it was a range, you should have been thinking the lows are down here. Here's where all the lows are early this morning down here. So it had to be suspect to go long right there. And definitely once you went into all this overlap, you can see there you probably should have exited. You could have got out on any of those bars with a tick or two, maybe even 3 ticks, and then before it sold off again. And that's the same thing I'm talking about here. If you got short, you might have got shaken out of this one before it finally got that tick to get you out, and then it bounced for a minute and then it went short again. And notice there's it kind of looks like a second entry long, but it's not, because we make another new low right here. Um, so it's not really a second entry long, and it's really risky going short below all those dojis right there. So I didn't mark this trade. I didn't take it. And, I got my scalp right here, but I didn't get anything else out of it until right here. I went long right here. And I went long on a limit order right here when it ticked lower, but you still could have gone long above this bar as well and gone long right there. Got just enough for a scalp, and then it turned down. But this was the first opportunity you really had to go long because now you're testing the overnight low, and that's a lot more important low than this low was over here that we already broke below once and then broke below another low right there. And so you can hopefully see the difference between this setup and this setup, and that's mostly this low over here and the little 1 tick trap right there. And again, all you got, it was kind of risky because all you got out of it was a scalp, but now you got 2 legs down too. You should see that 1 leg and then a little 2-legged correction, then another leg. And so another reason to be liking it long right there. Actually here you might have seen 2 legs down. They're definitely there, but I think this is all 1 leg and a little correction and all another leg. But you definitely want to take this short here because everything's working lower. There's plenty of room to scalp out. It went down. Actually, same thing again. We got down to these lows where we've already bounced 1, 2, 3 times, and look what happens. We break 1 tick lower and turn up along right there. But this is much like this trade. Look, it got hung up in here, and so if you held on, it would have eventually got its scalp. But if you were like me, you exited right in here and you got out with a tick or two and saved your hide and re-entered right here when you had a failed second entry short. Now this one's, notice you got, well, let me back out here. May not be able to see that very well, so I'll back out. But notice you got a new low, then you got a first entry short, you pull back, you got a second entry short, and you might have been thinking short right here after a 2-legged pullback to the EMA, but look how many times we bounced. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So this is the 9th time we've touched down here and bounced. So you don't want to be going short right there. You got to have more room, like right over here. And you see that one worked, and it still bounced down there, but you had room to get out. So this is a short trap, and you got a chance to go long and ride it out of there. And so this was a good setup, and then you went into all this overlap, but we ticked higher and then turned down. This is the first break of this trend channel line, and you can see the trend channel line. If you copied it and drug it down, it's holding over here, and it looks real valid. So you pretty sure you got your channel right here, and so now you're looking to go short. And guess what? It bounces right there in that same place for the 9th time. And so you got to go long. You're thinking long again. And I actually scalped out of this one and had my runner going, but this was right before the news came out. And I think my exit order I think I was trying to get out 1 tick in front of these highs, and it kept bouncing and bouncing. Or actually, I had it up here and I drug it down since the news was about to come out. And when this bar closed right before the news came out, I just went ahead and exited my runner and took what it gave me, and didn't try to get anything more. And it would have worked because it ran straight up to where I was trying to get out at the next set of highs up there or whatever. So I should have hung on, but it's not worth risking it. And you can see it didn't take but a minute before, after it breaks out, it fails and comes back, and next thing you know, it's trading lower. And then guess what? It breaks out down here, finally breaks out down here and fails and turns right back up. So now you got a chance to go long here if you want to be a little more aggressive, or somewhere in here. And what I did was, once we broke higher, I dropped my limit order in there and it pulled back and got me, and then closed up here. And if you got in down here, you were able to ride this thing all the way up. And if you didn't, if you waited till you got in here, then you may not have got that opportunity. Let me just see. I'm not sure if you waited and got in up here, which was much more risky, because now look, you're back close to these highs again. 31. So yep, they didn't get a runner here. They came back, and you see they actually got back on in here. They didn't get these down here though. Notice that. And you might have considered entering right there, but that's not a good setup. I didn't like it. And you had to be pretty quick to get this one, because all this happened really, really fastly. So as soon as that broke higher, I dropped my limit order in there, and it somehow I got in there. But you had to be really fast to get in here. You could have easily missed this one. But if you did catch it, depending on how you caught it, you might have been able to ride it all the way up. It just depends. So it depends on how you got in it, or how you were able to get it. And there really weren't any good entries until this two-legged pullback right here, and this nice reversal bar. Nice place to go long. Another easy scalp. You might have got a little bit more out of your runner, but when it broke up here, broke higher and turned down, you got to exit right there, because that's a failed breakout. You could come back and turn back up, but you're better off to re-enter, because look what happened. If you didn't exit yet, the longer you held on, the more money you're giving back. So then you got a failed second entry long right here, coming down. First entry long, pull back, second entry long. No reason to be going long out of all that mess right there. So just watch it and see what happens, and look what happens. You get a trap, it turns down. So failed second entry long turns into a trap. You got enough room to get out before you test these lows again, and instead it just keeps on going. And any runners would have been safe on this one. So now you got a chance to ride this down all the way to the lows today. And look, we're still, right before the close, we're down here making new lows for the day. Or actually, I don't guess we made a new low. We're testing, there's the low of the day right there, so we're testing it again. And then you got one more chance to enter right here. I didn't like entering below this bar, and instead I waited on this bar right here. Go short right there. It took a minute, but it worked on out, and continued to ride it down. And then the reason you like this one is because it's coming off the trend line. It's a breakout pullback. You had these matching lows across here. You break lower, you pull back and test it, and then you go lower. And just see about a measured move. There was leg one, and then there's leg two. And I just exited down here, one tick above that high. Actually, it was probably two, because I had my order there, and as soon as it touched it, I just went ahead and closed my trade. And I don't think I got out on my limit order. I think I got out one tick behind that. So, and that was it for me. So, and you really didn't want. This is actually congestion right here with the failed breakout at the bottom, and then a breakout pullback short. But I didn't like entering right here. It's not a good setup. Would have worked, and you could have ridden this on down. But your better entry was to try to get in up here, coming off the trend line. You drew your line off the first two swings. This was your confirmation, and a good place to go short. And at the time, I wasn't sure if it was going to be like that, but I believe it to be over here, because you see we finally got some touches and then bounced. So, and that was really it for today. It just was, unless you were able to catch this news event or one of these moves late in the afternoon, there just wasn't, it was just difficult trading. And it's not hardly worth entering in all this, but like I always tell you, when you go into a range, the only thing you really can do is sell the highs and buy the lows. And you can see how that would have worked every single time, except when the news came out, and you don't want to be trading when the news come out. even then it gave you a chance to, uh, excuse me, even then if you didn't get stopped out up here when it came back, it gave you a chance to get out. So, but you just can't be in, especially on FOMC news. Don't be in the market when that stuff comes out, because if you are, you're just asking for trouble. And but in the end, it looks to me like it's just another trading range day. We broke higher, failed. Now we broke lower, and looks like we're failing. The market's closing any second now. So either way, it's still a range day with a failed break higher, and it may not turn into a failed break lower, but that's what we had for the most parts of trading range day. We spent the majority of the day in this from 29 and a quarter to 34.75 range, and you can see that we got outside it for a little bit here and for a little bit just for the last 45 minutes of trading, and maybe a couple hours in the afternoon, late morning, early afternoon. So but just draw your trend lines. That always helps, and that'll generally keep you thinking right until you get that trend line break. And you see that right here, we had a trend line break, one leg down and then two legs down. It's kind of odd looking, or you could have really considered this the break, and then one leg down, then second leg down, and then the correction. So even when like I said, even when it happens quickly during news, the price action still works. Finding a trend line here was a little difficult. Just maybe that's it right there. Maybe a spike in channel. I don't know if we even had a trend here. I just don't see anything right there that could keep you on trusting. Looks like you had a little short-term trend there, then it was there, and then it was there. And so there's three little legs up, I guess you could say. But sometimes you can't get a trend line, and and that news-related thing. And somebody was talking about shorting this, and you definitely don't want to be shorting a news move, FOMC, that's rallying like that, until you get a reversal pattern. And this is more like a reversal pattern, a double top with finally you get a lower low. Notice how all these lows, each one's higher than the previous one. And finally you get a lower low that's lower than this one or this one. A double top with a failed break higher. That's a reversal type pattern. Wait for a reversal pattern. So if this had kept going higher, it wouldn't have been a reversal pattern. But when it made a double top here and then broke higher, I'll look at the stems up here, and then we broke higher and it instantly failed and turned down. Now that's a reversal type pattern. And just like this is a reversal pattern down here, look at all this support that we broke lower and trapped everybody and ran the stops, and then boom. So look for those reversal patterns, just like there's another double top right there and that big bearish bar. That was a good trade right there. It was right before the open, though. That's the reason I don't have it marked. So, but I'm going to wrap it up. This is Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and hope you had a good trading day today, and I'll see you tomorrow.